list, but that home improvement project doesn't have to be a chore. Before you jump in, tune in here to About Your House to listen and learn from the most experienced and reputable contractors and service providers in the industry. On today's show, we have Kyle Teeter, owner of Supreme Tile and Flooring. About Your House is brought to you in part by PutToolsInSchools.org, connecting students to tools of the trades and raising awareness of the many career pathways. About Your House is also brought to you in part by Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store is a family-owned store, and they've been serving the Carolinas for over 70 years. They're the largest independent appliance retailer in the Carolinas, constantly growing and taking pride in the experience that they offer customers with a knowledgeable sales staff, product selection, and lowest price guarantee. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some time with us as we spread a little love. And now, here's your host, Ray Terry.
And welcome. Good morning to you. 9 to 11 on Fox Sports Charlotte. We're like, I can't talk this morning. Something's got my tongue. At any rate, good to be here. About Your House coming your way every week. We're recording the show live every Tuesday from 10 till noon. Today we had a little mishap on technology. Imagine that. However, we're going to overcome. I got Kyle Teeter in the house this morning, and good to have him in here. A true artisan in his craft of Supreme Tile and Flooring. A very talented individual. Like I said, a craftsman, an artisan. 5-10 notches above most, I'll say that. Very creative young man, 38 years old, and he's in an industry that, well, we need to get more people into, that's for sure. Tile artisans, tile technicians, tile master craftsmen, they're not that many around anymore. It's a dying, I won't call it a dying profession, because the product, the resources in the industry have just blown up. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, I don't think it's a dying profession. I think the demand has actually increased.
Yeah, but the craftsmanship behind it
has decreased. Yes,
it has decreased somewhat. Mm-hmm. Installing tile is not for the you've got to know your craft.
Yes,
I mean. Methodologies are very important. Systems are very important. Your number one enemy on your house is water. So therefore, a shower. And we talk about, well, we've talked within the industry about the problems behind the tile. Most of the problems with tile work are all hidden.
Yep. Yeah, they're behind the tile. And a lot of times they go unnoticed until you take a tile off the wall, and then you see the real problems that you have.
Have you ever gone in the bathroom, hit the wall, and tiles fall off the wall?
I wouldn't say just like that, but definitely you can tell as a tile installer that tile is not connected by anything but the grout around it.
Exactly. Well, tile systems and methodologies are very, very, very important to the overall. And, tell us about when you go present. I mean, I know you're competing.
Yes.
With other tile craftsmen and tile companies. Mm-hmm. What do you run against competing? What type of?
Well, when I build a job for a client and I present it to them, I do use top of the line setting materials and complete shower systems that are best in the industry. And with that, it costs a little bit of money. So oftentimes I'll get pushback from a client who got a competitor's price that's maybe a couple thousand less for a shower. Mm-hmm. And I tell them, well, show me the contract. Show me exactly what they're doing, because we have to compare apples to apples. No two installations are the same. No two installers are the same. And then you dig into what they're using, and it's like, okay, well, here it is. They're using cement board on the walls with a tray made from a different manufacturer. They're tying it together with some other third-party manufacturer's band, because that's the cheapest way that they like to build a shower. And with that, the customer is left with no manufacturer warranty. So once I discussed that with them, did you know that this shower is going to give you no manufacturer warranty if something fails? And then they say, okay. And the reality is the difference in the price of the setting materials is probably the difference in price in our quotes.
Not only that, but, on that note, we talked about methodology and systems because they're different. Name a few systems.
Schluter, Revolutionary Shower Systems, Blanky, Laticrete has a system, Mapei. There's a lot of systems out there.
See, when we say systems, and how many are you certified in?
I would say I've been trained by 4 or 5 of the setting material manufacturers.
Now, the fact that you've been trained and you can show certifications that you've been to their schools, they're going to supply, and you use their product.
Yes.
Along with their methodologies, obviously, because that's what you were trained in. Mm-hmm. They support you with a warranty.
Correct. Yeah, for instance, like Schluter, we talk about quite a bit. Their warranty is a lifetime warranty for the client, which is fantastic. But you do have to have an installer who is trained to get that warranty and use their System 1 process, which is all the materials that they have tested in their, they've tested at their warehouses and have been proven to work.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there in itself, did you ask the installer the other competitive price? Did you ask them for certifications? Did you ask them which system they're using?
Right.
Are they using a system? And, as a homeowner, how would you know that? I mean,
right.
how would you know all the background to the tile installation methodology and systems? You know what tile looks like. You know what a shower is supposed to look like.
Yeah,
you got that down pat.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Homeowners do not know that there are even different systems. They just want an installer to come in, and they don't even talk about warranties. They just want it done by next Tuesday, and they want it done for $3,000 or whatever. And once it fits those 2 criteria, they go with it. And unfortunately, sometimes it backfires on them. And I rip out showers every day that have backfired on people.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we're talking about. And that's the reason we have Mr. Kyle Teeter on the show, or people like him in the industry. We talk about professionalism all the time on this show, and proper techniques, proper installation methodologies, and that. And remodeling is an art form. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
Remodeling is nothing but artistic. Let's say that word.
Artisanship?
Artisanship. Okay, we'll go with that. It's definitely got artisan in it, and it's highly. It's creative. It's art. Remodeling can be very artsy, and that's what I love about the industry, and that's why I spent 40 years doing it, because every job was, every job's unique. Every job's different. Typically in remodeling, you're remodeling that house and improving it per the homeowner.
Right. To their taste.
It's their taste. It's their, their creativity, or what they, I know you've had probably homeowners come to you and say, can you do?
Yep. Yeah, they have a vision, and then they lay it out for you to play it out.
And you can't find that in every craftsman.
Correct.
And that's artistry right there, mm-hmm. and creativity. And once again, that referring to put tools in schools and why I do what I do around bringing all these problems up. Right now, we've got a tremendous problem within the industry, from building new homes, remodeling, all kinds of home improvement issues out there right now because lack of knowledge. We've quit teaching. Where do you learn tile work? Where on earth would one learn tile work?
You have to learn from somebody else who knows how to thinks they know how to install tile.
Right. Are you chasing money, or are you chasing the dream of being an artist in the tile industry?
Right.
I think it should be a little of both. The money will come if you're good at your craft.
Yes. And in my industry, the Ceramic Tile Education Foundation is a place you can go to learn. It's not hands-on. You do have to have some experience, but you will learn the right way to do it and be tested on it to become a certified tile installer. And people don't know how important that is, to vet out an installer, to know that he put himself into the education and got tested. It's a written test, modular test, where you actually do a mock-up installation. It's very rigorous. It's very challenging. You have 8 hours to do like 187 cuts, and it has to look good.
Really?
Yeah, it has to look good. It has to have full mortar coverage per NTCA specs, the whole nine. Make sure, if you're listening, make sure if you're getting a tile installation done, get it by a certified tile installer. You will know that you're going to get a good job.
And verify that.
Yeah. That's the certificate. Yeah.
Now, who certifies you for that?
The Ceramic Tile Education Foundation, the CTEF.
And you have to go find that. Where did you take that test?
Yeah, so a lot of the, where their office is, where they do their tests, is actually down in South Carolina. The name's escaping me which town, but they're based out of South Carolina.
Okay.
But a lot of the, all the tile, where they sell tile, like Best Tile does it sometimes. Well, they will have the suppliers. They will open up their warehouse to
and have a workshop,
and have the workshop and do the test there. So they'll have them all come in with all the modules, and they'll do the test right there.
Cool.
So I did mine at a place called Avalon Flooring in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 10 years ago, I think now.
Gotcha.
8 to 10 years ago. Yeah.
You're not but 38, so you were still young then, 28. I'm amazed that you're as young as you are, and you're way ahead of the curve.
Thank you.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
How many tile installers do you know?
Ooh, a lot.
You do know a lot. So.
Yeah, well, when you travel, when you're in those groups, right, social media and all that, and you go from place to place, you meet them through manufacturers and suppliers, and all the different events throughout the country that you might go to, coverings. You meet a lot of them. Yep.
Well, we talk about networking, and you've just talked about networking basically because you're in the industry and you see a lot of, and going to these workshops. If there's tremendous educational benefits in joining with a group of people like NARI, the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. Mm-hmm. You join an association, a trade association such as that. Then you've got the AGC, you've got ABC, you've got NAWIC, you've got all these associations. Well, these associations put you in touch with people of the trades and people in the industry that you're a part of. And you can network there and become a better person professionally and in your craft.
Right.
Because I know for one, as a member of NARI, that there's many times that I go to these events, these monthly meetings, and through that, Saturday night was a celebration of a wedding that I went to, where mostly NARI members there. And in that, we talk shop. Because every time you get around people in the industry, they're going to talk shop.
That's right.
That's what they do. And through that networking and talking and conversing over information, you learn a lot about what's going on. As a matter of fact, I found out Saturday night 3 people got new jobs.
All right.
And some of them
Uh-huh.
And they've switched up. They've gone from one company to another. That happens a little bit here and there.
Uh-huh.
But one thing's for sure, it's always changing. Always changing.
Yep.
And you never know from one month to the next. And speaking of NARI, this month's meeting is going to be Thursday the 23rd at Cutting Edge Stoneworks up in Mooresville. And something I would highly recommend is taking a visit to that meeting, going on NARICharlotte.com, signing up as a guest, and you talking about technology. You've been to Harkey. You've seen how they cut stone with water technology, right?
Yep.
Water jet technology.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting edge stone. If you might want to put that on your calendar and take a visit. They've got some technology up there to blow your mind. They've got a new machine that will literally heat and curve quartzite.
Oh,
Right.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's something that I really would like to see.
I've not seen that yet.
Well, I'm anxious to get up there. That's Thursday the 23rd, 5:30 to 8:30, I believe, or 5 to 8, either or.
Yep.
Check it out. It's online.
I'll be there.
But that's Thursday evening, the 23rd. Cutting Edge Stoneworks, great company. They're top drawer in their field as well, like your top drawer. Do you know of a best tile NARI meeting scheduled yet?
A best tile meeting? I'm not too sure.
Okay. But NARI, that's National Association of the Remodeling Industry, something I highly recommend, especially in the home improvement industry. You surround yourself with some of the best in the industry of the Charlotte market, no doubt. Been in Charlotte since chartered October of 1990, been around a while. Grew quite a bit too. I was the president, the original president. We talk about your favorite job. Can you share your favorite job with people?
Sure. Yeah. So my favorite job, I've been asked, is the job that I did up on Lake Norman that had multiple bathrooms. But the fun part about this job was that each bathroom had so many unique elements to it. We had a combination of heated floors, we had curbless showers. We had very unique angles, very beautifully designed structures that we were tiling, mitered corners with fine detailed edging, marble mosaics. It was a great job. One of my favorites by far.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I got that job basically for Kyle because I went up there and he was so fed up. The builder up there was so fed up with what he had dealt with, and here again, in stupidity and poor craftsmanship, poor everything.
Yeah. So when I got to that job, I don't want to get into too many details, but there was a lot of framing issues that had to be addressed, and just a lot of leaking windows and things like that. And I kind of felt like when I was there, it was a bad situation. Everyone's angry at everybody else, but the client still was very optimistic.
Yeah, he had a lot of hope.
He did. And, I feel like it was very exciting for him when we were doing our job, and now he's looking at everything that everybody's doing, right? Because he's just ran into so many issues that he doesn't want to peel things off the wall or have more failures.
Right.
And I go in there and I do my thing and just made sure everything was perfect, and just did my best. And he's looking over my shoulder like, okay, I think this is a turning point here. Everything's going in great, and it did. It was a beautiful job. Right on the lake. He even invited me to go out with his family on the lake and ride electric surfboards. I actually lost my gold wedding ring. That's why I have this vinyl one out in that lake. But it was a great job.
Well, you hit them like that. The wonderful thing about the remodeling industry is when you work for a client, you normally become friends.
Yes.
And develop a relationship that goes on for years.
Yeah, it's always great to, they'll sometimes be my Facebook friend or social media friend, and they're still recommending me, 8 years later. You just know that they're still happy about their job, 8,
Right.
10 years later.
Sure.
Tile installation should last a long time, and they should look pretty for a long time, too.
I'll share this with you. Last week I went out and did a small, changed out 2 fixtures, took down a crystal chandelier and replaced it. I remodeled for this couple back in the early 90s. I remodeled their kitchen and laundry room and just did a lot of home improvements for them back in the early 90s. And here we are, many years later, and she called me up and they're moving because they're, older. They're retired and they're moving into a retirement community in Charlotte. And so she called me up, and that relationship has gone on for all this time. And she would call me the whole time frame there and ask me for tidbits of information about who she should call or what she should do. And there's no different here. They're moving. So she said, "Ray, who could I call to change my light fixtures?" I said, "I would love to come over there and do that for you."
Nice.
But this is the kind of relationships you build in the home improvement industry if people can rely on you. Here recently, it's gotten to the point to where I hear so much that you call us back, you communicate. Man, to have someone call, and I'll even call people and tell them I'm on the way, I'll be there, but people don't do that anymore.
Right.
The communication, I talk about this a lot on the show, the lack of communication with service providers. I call them service providers because that's what we are.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We provide a service. And, to provide that service, we must be on time. You must be do your job well, clean up after yourself, give the information necessary to the homeowner.
Right.
That's not done by everybody.
No, it's not.
And, that's the culture. What'd you say, Richton?
Sponsors.
Oh, okay, I got you. Richton Cunningham's at the helm today. He says it's time to talk about our sponsors, so let's do it. Let's talk about Renovation Foundation Solutions. There's two young men right out of college. Says we're going to fix something. What are we going to fix? We're going to fix foundations, because Josh, when he was in college, he worked his summers and part-time in construction, seeing the issues around what's needed in construction. And he worked with a foundation repair company. He said, well, I got an answer to this. We're going to open our own foundation repair company and make it work. We're going to have total transparency and honesty behind what we do, and they have done just that. Remodeling Foundation Solutions is a great company, licensed in both North and South Carolina. From the beach to the hills, they'll take care of any foundation issue you may have, be it a crawl space encapsulation, a sunken slab, sunken driveway, sunken patio, cracks in your foundation, helical piers. Go online, rhinoliffoundations.com. That's rhinoliffoundations.com, and check them out. And set up an appointment right there online. If you have issues, doors that don't close, whatever the case may be, give them a call. They'll be out to, they've got solutions. Also, talk about Kilo Exterminating. We talk about crawl spaces all the time. Tile, ceramic tile showers. If you're not sure if it's leak, you can't see a leak in a shower from the top side, but you can sure see it underneath. I've recommended for years that you have your crawl space inspected at least annually or every 2 years minimum. So they will give you moisture readings, at least 3 or 4 moisture readings around the bathroom and other threshold areas, entry areas, to give you moisture readings to indicate those moist areas and the issues you may have around water intrusion. So that's kilo.biz. Check them out. Been in Charlotte for 3 generations since 1939. Kilo.biz, Kilo Exterminating. And don't forget about ABS Insulating. ABS Insulating, a great comfort company. Why do I call them a comfort company? If you're having issues with that air conditioning doing the job, you may want to give them a call. I talk a lot about attic encapsulations. You may want to check that out. ABSinsulating.com. Also, their gutter division. If you've got gutter problems, downspout issues, you want a gutter protection system, ABS Insulating is your go-to company. That's right, ABS Insulating for gutters. Yep, they're great at what they do. That's ABSinsulating.com. Today's show, we've got Supreme Tile and Flooring with Kyle Teeter talking about, I tend to say ceramic tile, but I can't say that anymore because most tile today is porcelain.
Well, porcelain is actually made in the ceramic category.
It is.
But it's got a lower absorption rating than ceramic. So that's the difference.
Much more, it's greater compressed.
Yes, greater compressed. And I believe it has to only be able to absorb 0.05% of its body weight in water to be considered porcelain.
Now, porcelain has just exploded lately. The sheets that you put in now can be, what's the size of those big sheets?
Yeah, so you typically will find them at a, say, countertop shop that is about 6 foot by 12 foot long tiles. But they say that if you go right to the manufacturer, you can get them as big as you want, as long as you can get them there to where
Yeah, I
you
was
want
going
to
to
go.
say the issues, the size is so big. How do you ship them? I mean, for example, I noticed your truck outside. It's got a big high-rise van, and that van, I guess that's where you carry it in, that van.
Yeah.
Will it fit in that van?
Yeah, so I have to basically build an A-frame against the wall of my van and, get them in at an angle and then put them against the A-frame.
How in the world? Because some of those sheets are only an 1/8 inch thick.
Yeah. Typically, you'll see them about 3/16 to 3/8 of an inch thick, and then they get thicker if you want to use like for countertop material. So you can coordinate, without having all the weight. You can have a backsplash or even a ceiling tiled and not have the full countertop, 1.25 inch, but then you can coordinate with your countertops. So it's really nice.
It's just amazing. And now Cutting Edge Stoneworks told me they're using it for countertop material now and putting it on the water jet and treating it just like you would a rock countertop.
Yeah, you could definitely do that.
That's amazing. But are you doing much of that kind of work?
Countertops, no.
No, not countertops, but whole sheet tile, showers, and what have you.
Panels, yes, I do install panels.
That's tricky stuff, isn't it?
It is. It's not tile. So if you have a tile installer who is just seeing this product for the first time or doing it for the first time, question what you're doing, because there's a lot of nuances to that product.
Well, I've been to a workshop down at Cosentino.
Yep.
And saw how to. That's very labor intensive as well.
It is. So a couple things that are different from regular tile is you have to know how to get it from the shop all the way to the shower wall, right? I'm talking about in the van, in the driveway, up the steps, around the landing on the steps inside, up into the bathroom, turning corners. You have to know how to get it all the way from the shop to the wall. So those are things that installers don't normally think about.
I know.
Right. So in the wall, you have to have very sound and flat substrates. They're really, really great products, and I do recommend them to anyone. You just have to get the right installer for them.
And there aren't many, relatively speaking.
No, because a lot of tile installers I feel are capable of doing it as long as they get themselves educated. But there are certain tools that you have to use, like big suction cup frames. It's an investment, so a lot of tile installers have not added that to their arsenal.
Repertoire, to their quiver.
Yeah.
Let's talk about special equipment. If you go into the tile industry or tile installation business, how much would you say you've got in equipment for specialty equipment?
Specialty equipment?
Yeah.
I would say at least 8,000 or 10,000.
Really?
Yeah.
So and that comes with time.
Yeah, and that's not including like the van and things like that. But that a bigger van. Let's say you're working out of the back of a truck. At least when it comes.
How long
to
have you been in a
panels.
big van?
Since I started my business. So
Really?
10 years ago.
So you've always had a big one.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you like working alone or or with somebody?
I would say I'd prefer working with somebody if I had the choice, but
Good help's hard to find.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the thing.
Is that the big issue with help now? Just finding good help?
That is, yeah. I should have said the
And
help's good.
you had your brother with you and you lost him?
Yeah, he got married and moved to Oregon last year. So
Where'd he move up in Oregon? Just curious.
I guess by Portland area.
Portland? Yuck. Okay. Well, I don't like Oregon anymore.
Yeah,
I've been up
never
there.
been, but I don't hear great things.
I tell you
for
what,
Portland.
I'll tell you
It's a different world out there.
I'll tell you one of the most beautiful things about Oregon, and that's the coast.
Yeah.
I traveled down the coast of Oregon, took a week, Mary and I, and that is one of the most beautiful coastlines I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
Just very unique. I can't say that about Washington State. It doesn't hold the beauty that Oregon did. California's upper coast. Anyway, Oregon's a beautiful state, got some beautiful areas, but I wouldn't want to live there.
Okay.
especially Seattle. Did you ever met Lucas Henderson from the Seattle area? He's into mosaics big time.
Yeah, I've actually made some templates for him. For some of his tile art.
I met him when I went out there. We met at a bar one night and had a drink together and talked. And
you did?
And he's a very talented guy.
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of you. Just his passion and his desire to be great at what he does.
Okay.
And he is pretty darn good at mosaics like you are.
Yep.
You know, we talk about mosaics as something you branched off to.
Yes. Yeah. Last couple of years, I've been trying to do more and more tile art. I got trained to create custom art pieces, whether that is, actual art as we like to think about it, animals, flowers, that sort of thing, little splashes of color, all the way to things like making logos for an entryway of a commercial building.
How many of those have you done?
I've only done a couple so far.
Well, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah. But
how'd you get that work?
Literally, you have to just be on the social media groups. The people, if they want that, they'll come find you. You know what I mean? Right.
The industry will lead them to you.
Yeah, if they want it, they'll find the person.
For example, he's got a mosaic in Best Tile Showroom out there, Clanton Road and I-77. That intersection, Best Tile Showroom.
Yes.
You've got the goat.
Yeah, the goat.
The mountain goat.
Yeah, that was one of my first projects that everyone really loves, and it is a beautiful piece. It's 12 inches wide by 24 inches tall.
Now, how long did that piece take you to do?
40 man-hours to create the image, put it into my program, and then, I make templates and all this other stuff, and then actually cutting the tile and setting it. So all that together was about 40 hours.
40 hours. Mm-hmm. Wow. And now it hangs in a Best Tile Showroom. It
does. Yeah, it's awesome. Anyone listening, if you're looking for tile or you happen to be in that showroom, go check out that goat because it is really unique.
Imagine having a shower in your house that's a large shower, and you want a dolphin on the wall. Mm-hmm. They could have the dolphin.
Yeah, they can. Absolutely. And it would look really,
or
really
you could
awesome.
do a sunset, you could do a sunrise, you could do anything your little mind could create that you want to envision when you take a shower.
Yeah, you could have pebble shower floor with little koi fish at the bottom. Lots of things you could do. Use your imagination, have fun with these projects, and we can make it look very tasteful and beautiful. I hope that everybody finds that joy to do something special for their house and not always think retail about everything. Do something fun.
Well, creativity is with every kitchen I remodeled. I would strive to achieve a wow factor.
Yeah.
There's something in every kitchen that could have a wow factor, or bathroom for that matter.
Right.
Like, one of the things I want to ask you about are showers. I have gone into a lot of remodeled bathrooms where I see a curb, and I think, why in the world wouldn't they spend the extra money and have a curbless shower?
Right. Yeah, curbless is great.
Are you putting a lot of curbs using a lot of curbs, or you?
Well, like you said, it does cost more money.
It does.
So
yeah.
There are a couple. First of all, if everything on site allows you to do it, and you want to make that leap, I recommend you do. But if you can't, it's fine. Maybe you have some structural issues, or you're on a concrete slab and it's just too much of a project to try to cut into that slab. I do a lot of them though, and they always look, better than having a curb. You know what I mean? Like they look
they're
so
accessible.
Nice.
One, for wheelchair accessibility.
Yeah.
They're it's a no-brainer. Yeah, it costs more money.
Right.
To what degree? Thousands.
Yes.
Thousands.
Mm-hmm.
Couple thousand at least. It's going to add maybe more.
Right.
But in the long term, it's worth it.
Right. I agree.
I mean, curbless showers are by far the way to go, especially if you're 50 years old or above. And you say, why? You're getting older. You got a curb to step over. Not that, hey, look, I'm 74. I'm in my 75th year, and I can step over a curb. That's not the issue. The issue is accessibility. If you're in an accident and can't. And
Right.
I've recently had one of those happen in my personal life. And a broken foot, a broken femur, a broken hip. I can go on if you like, but I think you get the message.
Well, I try to build my showers so they will last a lifetime or more. So, you don't have to be young to be thinking about, this shower is going to be here in 20, 30, 40 years just fine. So, spring for the curbless if you can.
And how many times do you want to remodel a bathroom? Come on, let's face it.
Once.
Once, if at once, you would hope you could move into a house that everything's suitable. Well, that's not the case, obviously. We want to remodel, but when you do remodel a bathroom, well, it's the most expensive room per square foot to remodel in your house.
Right.
Undoubtedly. And then the products, selections, and the fixtures, all those factors come into play, but it is by far the most expensive room to remodel in your house. And one thing I would since we're talking about showers, I would do research. You're going to spend more money, relatively speaking, on the shower than any other area, right?
Yep, absolutely.
In the shower, how many seats do you put in showers?
I put seats in showers all the time.
But most of them, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
If you're putting a shower in a house and you don't put a bench in there, I've got to scratch my head and say, why?
Right.
Why? I had that conversation with so many homeowners through the years. Why would you have a shower, a decent-sized shower, without a bench? Mm-hmm. Why would you do that? Because it costs money? Well, then what are you remodeling the bathroom for?
Right.
I mean, I just couldn't believe somebody. I went in a shower room one time, and it was wide open space. It had two overhead shower heads, a valve on each end with a shower head on each end,
right.
And a handheld, all the fixtures you could possibly want in the shower with no bench. I scratched my head, and she says, well, I don't know who this was here when we got here, but why would you do that?
Right.
I just can't imagine why would you have a big shower without a bench.
Yeah, like you said, as long as it's big,
Especially
there
for
should
you
be a bench.
ladies shaving your legs. I mean, come on, use common sense here.
Yep.
And they're easy to do, relatively. They can be relatively easy to put in.
Yep.
So, hey, definitely in the curbless shower, by all means. But also, give it forethought and do your research on your valves and your plumbing fixtures. You ever have issues there? You don't deal with that, do you?
I don't get calls for it, but certainly I've been in situations where, valves weren't recessed the right way, and I catch that and have the plumber come back before I continue what I'm doing and things like that. But yeah, you do have to have a plan for what you want to do plumbing-wise before the tile installer is there, and have all that all set up, right? You don't want to have to do anything on the fly when it comes to plumbing work.
And you don't want to have to do that but one time. That's why a plan is essential.
Yes.
And how many times do you go in and have to have plumbing altered to do your tile work?
Lots of times.
You heard it, lots of times. So they're coming back twice to do the same job they should have done the first time.
Yeah.
Now, why didn't they do it? Because the plumbers didn't do their homework and do the research on the final product, did they?
Right.
Just like in a kitchen, when you go ahead and put your electrical and your gas line in for the range, you need to know what the manufacturer of your range. Oh, that means you have to have a range selection before you do the rough-in work. That's right, you sure should. The first thing you need to look at in a kitchen remodel are your appliances. Mm-hmm. And then build the kitchen around whatever appliances you want.
Right.
Wouldn't you agree?
I would.
Same thing in a bathroom, basically. You need to pin down all your details. And when have you been shopping for a plumbing fixture lately? They ain't cheap.
No, they're not.
Plumbing fixtures are out of sight, cost-wise. Mm-hmm. And then have you ever gone to select your plumbing fixtures? How do you do that with all the selections now? You go in a showroom like Ferguson, and there's fixture shops in Charlotte.
Yep.
Goodness gracious, the selections are just, how do you select? The answer I got was, that's why you need to hire a decorator. Well, we could talk about that another day. But no, I'm serious on all these plumbing issues. And if you're going to spend the most money you're going to spend in any room in a house, then why not do it correct?
Yep.
Do it right the first time. Mm-hmm. And that takes planning. Every job should be planned thoroughly to your calling the plumber back out to do what they need to do.
Yes. You save money by proper planning.
Every time, and by all means should do that. You don't do finished plumbing, any of that, do you?
I don't.
You just get it right. You get the surface product right around it, and then the plumber comes back and does all the finished work.
Well, I do work with plumbers on site. So what I tell my clients, I do have some plumbers that I do like and I can recommend, but I have them just deal directly with the customer. I don't GC or sub that out, but I do work with the plumber, even if it's just provided by the homeowner, to meet them on site, tell them exactly what we're doing, where I want the drain, where the mixing valve is going to be, the shower head, tell them what to prepare for, what I plan to do. Maybe I need to pack out some walls to plumb them out. So I'll tell him, cheat your rough-ins a half inch towards the shower because I'm going to be building this wall out plumb. So I do work with them.
You have to.
Right. So that planning part comes to fruition and works out in an efficient way.
Absolutely. Your escutcheons must fit the wall correctly, must be tight, must seal correctly. All those things are involved. So therefore, the relationship with your plumber is essential.
Yes.
And necessary. Mm-hmm. But back to planning. Now, shower enclosures.
Yep.
Do you ever have an issue with those? Glass, but the glass company takes care of that, right?
Glass company takes care of that. And again, I have some that I like and I recommend, and they deal directly with the homeowner.
You got a favorite glass company?
Yeah, My Shower Door.
My Shower Door.
Is my go-to right now for glass. Company out of Charlotte. They're not, I don't think they're out of Charlotte, but they're in Charlotte, and they do a great job. Great products, great prices, great salespeople, the whole nine.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing. And I call them regularly before I'm even done. I'm like, what do you think about this? There's certain things I could do with tile to work with them. Like there's a product where I can build a channel into the tile that the shower glass can sit into. And I'll work with them on that. I said, this is what I'm going to do. How thick is their glass going to be?
Well, that's more of the planning.
Right, the planning, yes. Because you can get different thicknesses of glass. That's going to affect what I do on my end with those channels. So, a lot of people shop for glass after, but in some cases, I got to know before I'm done.
There's another fact about the tile installer or the tile technician or the tile artist that you pick to do your job. Mm-hmm. Are they well versed in all of what you just discussed, around the door? Because that can save you more problems down the road.
Yeah, and it's a way, an installer who's knowledgeable and goes out there and works with all these people and learns about all the different products. It's just a better way to service the client. There's a lot of people that don't know anything about that channel I just talked about, right? So
yes, that's why I brought it up.
Right, so they can't service their client, as well as others can. So, yeah, it's important.
Knowledge is power. Power. Let's talk about some power with sponsors right now. Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte, yourflooringteam.com. Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte, got you covered on your floors. You need new flooring, not sure what you want, what's available. We talk about product lines. They've got you covered no matter what you may want. Or maybe you don't know what you want, or didn't know that you wanted this or that. Well, that's the beauty in Floor Coverings International Southeast Charlotte. They bring the showroom to you. They show you different products you may or may not want to know about, or didn't know you knew about it, or didn't know what you didn't know. But they're going to take care of you. If you're looking for oak flooring or real wood flooring. They got you covered there, no matter what the species or what finish you may want. Stair treads, they got you covered. Custom bindings, runners, carpet runners, custom carpet. You name it, they got you covered. That's Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. Go online, yourflooringteam.com. And let's talk about Queen City Home Store. Queen City Home Store, been in the Charlotte area. The Player family with Queen City Audio, Video, and Appliance. Been in Charlotte since 1952, doing a great job. Best product, best warranties, best installation. They got you covered. Home furnishings, furniture, bedding, media, appliances, you name it, they've got it. That's the new Queen City Home Store. Various locations throughout North and South Carolina now. QueenCityOnline.com. Give them a call. Corporate 704-391-6000. Or go online, do your shopping there. Give them a call. Check them out. That's QueenCityOnline.com. Today's show, we have Supreme Tile and Flooring in the house with Mr. Kyle Teeter, a true craftsman, a true artisan in his craft, and master craftsman at ceramic and porcelain and, well, wall coverings, I would say.
Yep.
What other products are there?
So we got, you mean in tile world?
Yeah, in tile work, yeah.
Yeah, so tiles, obviously there's all kinds of different tiles or art and panels, and those are the three that I focus on.
Have you done any of that glass work yet? From Best Tile? I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Oh, man, I have not done a personal job. I did help install that one at the Best Tile showroom, but I haven't done one myself. Maybe one day.
That's created over in Europe, isn't it?
It is.
And brought over here. It's glass.
It is glass. It's basically a piece of vinyl with an image between two panes of glass, and it is a beautiful product. Very expensive, but it is beautiful. If you want a wow factor, take a look at it.
Only in Charlotte. No, not only in Charlotte, but it's just a product that's available here in the Charlotte market as well. But it's a glass.
Siccies.
Siccies, thank you.
Yes, I believe it's Siccis.
Right.
I'm pretty sure. So Siccies glass makes that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Got it. You ever tile a ceiling?
Yeah.
Do they do that a lot nowadays?
They do. Yep. I do a fair share of them.
What do you put up there? Just regular old tile? It doesn't matter, whatever?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, you waterproof it just like everything else. So there's a bit of a process, but I do try to tile any ceiling that may have a soffitted entryway, like a drop header type entryway, where steam can go up there and kind of sit. So I do tile a lot of ceilings if there's not a lot of ventilation.
Right. If there's not a lot of ventilation.
Yeah, it's important.
One thing I want to talk about now is, since we're talking about bathrooms, go ahead and throw your vent fan in there. Let's talk about how you vent a bathroom successfully. I'm a big believer of the inline vent fans, such as Fantech. That's a brand name, but it's not even in the ceiling per se. It's in the attic. It's an inline vent fan. Have you seen those?
Oh, where the actual motor is not directly above you, so
right.
It's quiet, right?
You can't even hear it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you need an indicator light on your switch to let you know it's on.
Oh, you do?
Well,
I believe it, yeah.
Or you're going to just leave it on and it's going to pull out all your conditioned air, which is costing you money.
Right.
But the vent fan aspect of it, if you install like a Fantech blower, it takes a minimum 4-inch line, and you can get some with 6, where it's going to move a greater volume of air.
Yep.
But man, they work great.
Okay.
They work super. You can't hear them.
I did help somebody install one in a hood vent.
Right. Well, and I do vent hoods.
Okay.
Do you know I install vent hoods?
I didn't.
That's the one thing I'm still doing.
Okay.
And I enjoy it. Kitchen ventilation is what I predominantly do.
I got
along with little handymans here and there. But I did a downdraft vent for a fella yesterday. And by the time I was finished, he was talking about me about cooking, and he says, I know I'm going to be sorry I didn't go ahead and upgrade to a wolf. And I says, well, what can I say? I said, you got this, so let's put it in. I mean, he said, well, I'm going to. He said, but maybe 5 or 6 years down the road, I'll go ahead and upgrade to a different scenario. I said, well, something to think about. But anyway, you know, I enjoy, like you, I enjoy doing my craft and doing it well. And we talk about on this show all the time around put tools in schools, the big issues. How many times do you go into a bathroom that was done wrong?
Usually the beginning of every project.
So you would say the vast majority of the jobs you redo were done incorrectly to start with?
Yes, an absurd amount of tile installations are done wrong.
So see, stupid is a serious disease we're all fighting, and you don't know your tile job's wrong until you see what manifests as a result of that.
Right.
Do you typically do these jobs because it was problematic? In other words, something had manifested itself into an issue?
Yeah, I think that probably about half of my jobs are because of a failure from a previous installation.
Let that sink in a minute, folks. That's why I bring old Kyle in here to talk about what he does. He primarily gets not all of his work on a remodel or new installation, you know, but the repair work are always because of something that has gone wrong from a previous job.
Yep.
Think about that a minute. What you buy a job, you buy a house with a new remodeled bathroom. You don't know what you're getting.
Right, you don't.
You have no clue what you're buying. Mm-hmm. It looks good, and they all do, don't they?
Yeah.
For the most part. Well, I've seen some that were just total disasters.
Right.
You know. Matter of fact, I saw a post on Facebook one time. A guy talked about his remodeling job, and he showed pictures of it. My gosh, he should have never showed those pictures. The methodology behind the tile work was terrible.
Yeah.
But he showed pictures of it, and I said, oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah, well, I do spend a lot of time, a lot of my social media presence is my build of the shower, not necessarily the end product. And then I'll do the end product at the end, but I like to show everybody what I do. A lot of installers like to hide that, you know, not because they necessarily know it's wrong, but just because maybe they're unsure of themselves or they see other people doing it the right way, but they've been doing it their way forever, or they're just messy as heck.
I've seen some jobs where they'll do one wall completely.
Yep.
I'm talking about completely, and then they'll do the other wall completely. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to put the system in first. Am I right or wrong?
Absolutely.
You have to complete the shower substrate totally before you put any coverings up.
Yeah, which also, people who have issues with shower floors, you know, maybe they have grout cracking in their shower floor. The first thing that they want to do is just replace their shower floor. You can't do it. Some people might do it and, you know, you roll the dice. But if you want to get that waterproofing all the way down into the drain without, you know, having that void where you have now new tile next to old tile, you can't make that connection waterproof. Right?
No.
So you end up spending a ton of money on a shower that's old. And, you know, you're rolling the dice.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. So do your due diligence, but going back to the point I was alluding to as far as craftsmanship, tile work is one area in your home that the vast majority of the time, unfortunately, is done incorrectly.
That is correct. I'll vouch for that.
That's the vast majority of the jobs you go into are done incorrectly.
Yep.
That's now how do we change that?
Education.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we're not doing it.
That the tile craft, you know, think about old school tile, right? First of all, a lot of it was art, but a lot of it lasted, you know, centuries.
Mud and lath,
yeah.
You know, let me tell you how durable mud and lath tile jobs were. I did a house over in Plaza Midwood. The house is over 60 years old.
Yeah.
It mud laughed. The framing behind, there was a leak. Somebody replaced the shower head, and when they put the gooseneck back into the wall and screwed it in, it was leaking.
Oh, man.
And it leaked for years.
That's why I don't do plumbing finishes.
It leaked for years, and all the framing in that wall behind the tile was basically rot and gone. Well, it manifested itself in the corner and cracking the plaster, and it was a plaster wall on top of it. And so I went in there, and he called me one day, and he said, "Ray, look at this." And it was gone. The wall, the framing around the valves, everything was gone. I went in there and replaced all that substructure from the back side.
Right.
And the tile just stood there pretty as you please.
The mud walls, yeah.
The mud wall did not budge a bit.
Right.
And I tied back into what I could, and it was amazing that I was able to do that. And it didn't affect the tile in the shower or the bathroom at all. So I did all the work behind it. But that's a great example of how water can deteriorate something.
Yes, and that's why, like, the mud walls, same idea as cement board on walls. If you don't waterproof it, your tile and your cement board might look fine, but the water is going to absorb back in there and then get into that wall cavity and create all kinds of issues, and they usually don't show themselves until there's major damage going on.
Another reason you want to have your crawl space, if you're on a crawl space, have it inspected at least every year or two.
Yep.
Because those moisture readings that are taken, if in fact your pest control company, like Kilo, that's part of their protocol. They're going to give you moisture readings. Well, that's how valuable those moisture readings are.
Yeah, and most homeowners don't ever go into their crawl space. If you had a leak on a second floor shower, you would see it probably above your kitchen.
Right.
A lot sooner than something leaking in the crawl space that's doing major damage to your wood substrate.
Major damage to your structure in general.
Exactly, your structure, yeah.
Yep. I went to do a dryer vent one day, and I crawled under a house, and I crawled under something, and water hit me.
You found something.
Yeah, well, it found me. I was crawling along, and a big old pile of water hit me. And I looked up, and a 2-inch vent had been broken loose from a plumbing line, and it was leaking for how long, who knows. But I went back in and told them. They says, "What should I do?" "You need to call a plumber and get him out here and fix it."
Right.
Fortunately, it was lower than the framing.
It's just leaking into the crawl space.
So it was just leaking into the crawl space. But those type things, they would have never known it if somebody hadn't gone in the crawl space. I'm telling you, it's very important. If you just hired a home inspector to go into your crawl space, or call me, I'll go into there. I don't mind crawling into houses, just to take a visual inspection of a crawl space. But there again, if you have a good pest control company, and they're doing a thorough job of inspecting your crawl space, they're going to come out and give you good information if they're worthy of doing their profession, because that's what they crawl into there for, not just to look for wood destroying and wood, problematic areas, around moisture. Bugs need to have moisture, so I don't know, it's your house, but I would highly recommend, and what we're talking about is water.
Yep.
Where do you find most of the water in the house? In the bathroom, right?
What people don't realize is that an average shower gets 80 times more water than what it requires to be called a rainforest. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
80 times more water per year than a rainforest will get in a year.
Right.
That's a lot of water.
It is.
That's got to go somewhere.
Yep.
Hopefully down the drain.
Yep. And speaking of drains, linear drains, very popular these days. Linear drains, a long trough, literally.
Yep.
A lot more attractive and to me, it's a lot more functional.
Yeah, they're really nice looking. You can clean them out, lift the grate and clean out any hair or anything that gets in there.
If they wanted to get in touch with Mr. Kyle Teeter, how would they do that?
Yeah, so they could call me. My phone number is 609-848-3190.
Or call me and I'll give you his number.
That's right. Or they can reach me at my website, supremetileandflooring.com. And if they want to stay up to date on all my projects, really, I tend to post everything. My Facebook and Instagram, Supreme Tile and Flooring, they can find me there.
Right. And you're always booked out at least 6 to 8 weeks?
Yeah, that's pretty normal.
6 to 8 weeks. So if you're looking for something tomorrow, forget it.
Yeah, if you want something this summer, I would love to chat now about it. For sure.
Gotcha. Mosaics, one of the premier craftsmen in the mosaic industry. So that's Kyle Teeter with Supreme Tile and Flooring. And you've been listening to About Your House. We're on YouTube Live, Facebook Live. We broadcast the show live every Tuesday from 10 till noon, as we are today. Also rebroadcast on Fox Sports Charlotte 9 to 11 every Saturday morning. Tune in, turn on, and learn. That's About Your House. So we're going to close it out on this hour. More About Your House to come. Tune in, turn on, and learn, as we do every Saturday. Talk to you soon. Now, what are we going to